Okay, so today in Kerbal Space Program, I'm going to show you how to build my primary ship, the Rigel I. Okay, so in short, I'm recording this audio part as the last one dragged on, and I'm just going to put this over the building process. This rocket is capable of flying anywhere from 7,500 or more delta V. This can be extended if you do the extended version, which I will cover if I can be bothered sometime later. The ship weighs roughly 700 tons plus the weight of your payload. This version at least. It can probably fly anywhere from 0 to 50 tons of payload around Kerbin and possibly outwards. It can probably also carry more, but that's just an estimate of how much I would recommend for this. And the extended version is more suited to places like Duna and Eve if you want to go far out there. And yeah, so this rocket is relatively stable. After disparting the SRBs, the rocket may spin in the atmosphere a bit. If you're using the caster boosters, this will be a problem since your apoasis isn't really optimal yet for orbiting. So when you activate your next stage, if you just hold down Q, then that should fix it. But from now I'm going to move on to the flight test. This part will show you an example of what it's like while flying and stuff you can do with some voiceover, so I hope you enjoy. So I'm quickly going to do some staging here just to make sure everything works right. And then with that, I'll test fly it and I'll show you how it flies. With this about 8-ton payload, it has about 7,000 delta V. There are some alternatives you can use. For example, instead of the Clydesdale boosters, you can use the caster boosters, which are a lot less delta V gaining and a lot less powerful. They will eat fuel out of this stage and maybe this stage, but these Clydesdale boosters, they'll get your apoasis to suborbital height, and then your periapsis also a bit boosted, so you'll have to use less fuel out of this stage and usually none out of this stage. So we'll slowly tilt over here to the right. I'm aiming for about 60. Now I'm going to let these Clydesdale boosters do what they do. Then once the Clydesdale boosters get to about 90,000 apoasis, which is very soon, I'm going to fully tilt to the right. I'll do it now actually, to help the periapsis a bit. And since we're burning here, I'm pretty sure that makes it a bit harder for us to flip out. And then as you see, we have about 500 delta V from the Clydesdale boosters left to boost our periapsis a bit for the next stage. And we've gotten it to about 400,000. And then we can make a little thing here to extend that out. Now this payload here is a space station expansion. You can put whatever you want here. I'd say anything between 0 and 20 tons would be fine. You can add a bit more if you want to. If you're just going to like the moon or something, then you can probably add something like, I don't know, 50 tons. That might be a bit extreme. The entire rocket weighs about 200 tons. I forgot to check. But I'll show you it going to the moon now. So yeah, as you can see, this will use about, what, 2/3 or 3/4 of this rocket's delta V to get into a full orbit, and then we still have all these stages. But once this burns this, what we will be left with is about 4,500 delta V, maybe a bit more. maybe a bit less, I'm not sure. But that's a lot of delta V to have, especially up here. It'll easily get you to the moon or Minmus, possibly even Duna. Or probably Duna actually. With the expansion you can probably go anywhere, but I don't know. I usually use it to either hope that I'm able to return from Duna, which I've been able to sometimes with the rocket, or for other stuff. We can stop there. Say I wanted to go to the moon, I could easily do that here. And the way I usually measure where the moon is going to be for like the best intercept I could get, look at it now. The journey from here to about here takes roughly 6 hours. So in 6 hours out of a 24-hour orbit, it's probably going to be around here. So if I burn it, say here, and I go here, then you have a pretty good orbit thing here. If you move it to the right here though, I think this is the best, because you'll have all of that time. Say I wanted to do it there. Actually, let's see how efficient we can make it, because we have that very long burn time and a lot of room for error because of how much burn we have just simply. We'll go for that. So that'll take 40, which will bite a bit into this, and then with this you'll be able to get into an orbit of the moon, and then you can go to Minmus if you want with this stage and the rest of this stage. And then you'll be able to return. And I've used the ship for almost all of my missions, and some of them have a lot of places to go. So for one of them with the ship, with the extension, I was able to go from here to Duna. I put a probe in orbit, and then I went to Ike, I put another probe in orbit, and then I returned to Kerbin with all the Kerbals alive and both the probes in orbit, so it did go pretty well. I've used this for other stuff as well, which I will show you how to do if you want to do them. I'll leave links to the mods you need for this in the description, as well as a mod manager I used called CCAN, which I'd really recommend, as it's a lot more simpler. You don't have to go through folders or anything, you just tick some mods and they save. Once you apply them, they'll get instantly installed to your game data folder, and those mods will then be active. So it's a very neat little thing. But if you just want to do it with the folders, then I'll also link the download links to the mods themselves. But the reason I recommend CCAN is not only do they install the mods, but they also install the libraries and dependencies the mods need. I say this rocket is great for pretty much anyone, really. And if you're a stock player, I definitely recommend mods, as they make the game a lot more fun and improve a lot of things about it. And get that like that. Okay. So in 5 hours, you see 6 hours or so, it will end up you're getting there, and you'll end up getting there, and then be able to orbit. There's the moon. And so, say I wanted to get into orbit here, I can do that pretty easily with the stage alone. And so far we've only really used the solid rocket boosters and a tiny part of this and the big stage. So yeah, there's a lot of power from this rocket, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to it as well. When I first made this, I was like, wow, I really like this rocket, it can do a lot. And honestly, I don't think I've used anything but this rocket from then on, because I think genuinely it's just really nice to use and very good with Delta V and whatever else. So I want to orbit now, I just do that, and then you can adjust your orbit however you want. I'll just get down to here as an example. Alright, and then say I wanted to leave the orbit, I could use this as a gravity assist, and say I wanted to go to minmus, I could get that. Or you can use this moon orbit to get a gravity assist to say Duna or Eve or whatever you want, wherever when you go. And just for this burn, because I don't think this is a great angle to burn to minmus from, I'm going to lower the thrust limit, not the gimbal, the thrust limiter, so it's a bit more accurate down here, and a bit more precise with the burn, because I don't want to overshoot or undershoot or anything. Whenever you burn, I'd recommend just quick warping to roughly about half the number of the burn time, because that is the most accurate way to get a burn. And that was not a good idea. I think I should have just burnt retrograde then, it would have gone straight up here. You can probably get from here to here in about, 3 seconds of burn, if you just do it well, which I didn't. You can see there we have that, a very nice intercept. Then you can orbit around here. Which also takes a bit, but that's because I did a shitty orbit. Because now I have a sun orbit, which I didn't really want, but it was a mistake. So either way, and even though that was probably the worst orbit I could have made, I still have plenty. Right, no, it's because my thrust is down. Still though, it's not that great. I have a feeling I'll be able to get into this orbit though with just the stage. So I'm just gonna burn retrograde now here. Yeah, so I'm in a minmus orbit now. There's really no point in having this last stage much anymore, so I'm just going to launch this one. Then you can use the 2500 delta V here to get into a rendezvous or whatever you want to do. And then once you're done, you can just, orbit back out and then pull it back into land at Kerbin. And that's really it. So, yeah.